You're listening to Simon Scriver's amazingly ultimate fundraising superstar podcast, talking all things fundraising, charities, nonprofits, and more. Here's your host, as always, Simon Scriver.
Hello. It's me again, Simon Scriver here with another quick tip where we put aside about 10 minutes just to go through one aspect of your fundraising and give you a few practical tips that you can roll out today to make it work a little bit better for you. Today we want to talk about writing a blog post. So whether you already have a blog on your organization's website or whether you've yet to start one, I want to talk today about how we get into the habit of writing blog posts. Writing blog posts on our organization website are important because it gives content out to the world. It encourages people to revisit your website and it gives your website better SEO, search engine optimization. So when people start searching for content, it means that your page is going to be higher up the list. And if we can bring more people to our website and engage people when they come to our website, what it's going to do is keep you front of mind. It's going to encourage them to take action, like things like joining your mailing list and things like donating. It just deepens the relationship if we're putting out good stuff that people want to read. Now, how often should you be blogging? Well, that depends. It depends how good your content is, and it depends how much content there is. If you have really good content and it's regularly coming in, you could be blogging every day. But at the very least, you should be aiming for probably once a week, once every couple of weeks, getting something out there so that your website stays active, stays fresh, stays current, and people keep coming back to it. So what are we going to write about? Well, first of all, think about what people are searching for. So people in your world and the kind of donors that you're trying to attract, what are they looking for? If you try and imagine that every blog post is answering someone's question, answering someone's need, then there's going to be a reason for people to come to your website. So think about what are people searching for in your world. You want them to then come to your website, come to your blog post, and find the answer to that question that they've been searching for. And then while we have them there, while we've engaged them, we're going to nudge them to go on and take the kind of action that we want them to take. So if you're struggling to figure out what people are looking for, you might use some of these keywords analytics tools that are online that can show you what people are searching for, but also dip into online forums to see what is popular. So I like using things like Reddit. If you go into the Reddit groups and forums around the work that your organization does, you're going to see content that's really, really popular. You're going to see posts that people are responding to. Likewise on Facebook, on other social medias, in forums, on other websites, on LinkedIn and things like that. Go in and see what people are responding to, see what people are posting, and see what's popular. And use that as either direct content for putting into your blog post or as inspiration for what you're going to write about. You want your content to try and be timely, so think about what news is coming out. Every time there's a relevant news article that's coming up in your Google News alerts or coming up in your press release alerts, you want to try and write around that, write in response to that, even just quoting it directly, so that when people search for it or people want to see what's current, they're going to be led to your blog post. If you're writing when you're excited about it, then you're going to end up writing a much better blog post. So anything that's keeping your interest or keeping the interest of the people in your organization is going to be a good blog post. Keep a physical notepad or a digital notepad of stories and items that come into your mind. You know, we're always going to be thinking about this stuff. So if you're on the bus and you think of something, you want to jot it down. A guy that appeared on my podcast before, Chad Berger, he was saying that he has a waterproof notepad in his shower, which is insane, but it's also a great idea for him to jot down ideas when he thinks them when he's in the shower. Now, some of the most popular blog posts that are out there, you can look at a lot of websites which tell you the type of blog posts that are most popular. And the most popular blog posts are usually going to be how-to posts. So how to do something. So if you think about how-to posts and frequently asked question posts, these are great inspiration for the kind of stuff you can write. So again, your followers or your potential followers, what do they want to learn how to do? What are the type of questions that they get in touch with you and ask you about? And can you start blogging to answer those questions, to show them how to do it? This is going to be great content because when people search for this item, they're going to find the answer on your website. They're going to find it in a current active blog post. As well, any kind of lists are really popular with followers. So, you know, those kind of clickable list, the 7 reasons that we do this, the 10 ways that we do this. Those are really popular blog posts and the kind of things that people click through when they see them come up on social media. You might do explanation posts or ultimate guide posts. So the kind of posts where you really delve in and explain to people how something works, or you're explaining to people the reasoning behind an item that's relevant to your cause. News posts are great. So every time you're pushing out a press release, that's going to be a blog post. Every time someone in your world who's outside of your organization pushes out a press release or there's news, you want to do a blog about it. As well as that, what we see is popular posts around warning people, warning them how to behave coming into the winter, how to behave if there's ice, how to behave coming back to school, how to behave over the holidays. These kind of warning posts are also really, really popular. The other type of posts which are really popular, which probably aren't going to be relevant to you, are things like the celebrity revealed posts or any kind of controversial post. So what does the kid from Neverending Story look like now? How sexy is he? This is the kind of stuff we probably want to stay away from, but it's really popular with human beings because we are terrible, terrible creatures. Now, as you're starting to write your blog post, just remember it doesn't have to be a huge article. Obviously, the more we write and the more keywords we have in there, if it's good stuff, it makes it a good blog post that's going to appear in more searches. But sometimes your blog post can just be one paragraph. It can sometimes just be one quote from a press release or one quote from something that someone famous or a politician has said. So don't get weighed down and thinking that you have to write this big essay that's going to take loads and loads of your time. Remember, an important thing for me when you're writing blog posts is that you keep doing them. And so if you're making it such a time suck for you, you're going to do less and less. So yeah, sometimes you're going to do longer blog posts, but don't be worried about just doing something that's 1 or 2 paragraphs, 2 or 3 paragraphs, something short, but that's going to get the message across or is going to be active for what's happening in the world today. Another way you can save time is by using interviews or asking other people to write blog posts for you. So think about, as we've talked in previous podcasts, interviewing your board members, your volunteers, your beneficiaries and service users, other staff members. Interviewing them and turning that into a blog post is a really good way to get content and get blogs without you spending too much time. Asking them to do guest posts is a great way. And asking outsiders to do guest posts is a great way. So influencers, people with a large following on social media who are relevant to your cause, they are really, really good to ask to get to do a blog post. 1, because it saves you time. 2, because they have this lived experience that they can share and it's going to be really engaging. And 3, because you're going to start to attract their audience because they're obviously going to push it out to their own audience and it's going to bring these new eyeballs to your website. If you're saving time by using these kind of blog posts where it's other people's words, don't be afraid to top and tail it. So put a little introduction in, just 1 sentence or 1 paragraph to say who it is and what they're writing about. And then tail it, put something at the bottom, which is your call to action, what you want them to do next. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Finally, another great way to save time in terms of writing blog posts is to repeat content. There's nothing wrong with this. So if you've done a really popular blog post a year ago or 2 years ago and it's worked for you, don't be afraid to do almost exactly the same blog post again. You could do it word for word, or you could do a fresh take on it, or you could do an updated version. This makes it new, active content, but it saves you a bit of time because you're not starting from scratch in writing it. You also want to make your blog posts as readable as possible. So I've talked about Hemingway app a lot of times, and I'll put a link to it in the description. But things like Hemingway app are free tools which make your writing readable. So it shows you where your sentences are too long. It shows you where you're using words which are far too complicated. It lowers the reading level so it becomes more readable for people, and people are more likely to read it from start to finish. Finally, as you're beginning to put out these blog posts more and more often, don't forget to put a call to action in each one. Try to imagine the reader and how they're going to feel at the end. At the end of every blog post, you want people to feel like they want to take action. That might simply to be to read another article. It might be simply to share it, or it may be to join your mailing list, sign a petition, or yes, even make a donation. So try and get into the minds of the people who are reading these blog posts. Think about what emotional state or what feelings and thoughts are going through their mind when they reach that end of it, and then make sure you put in that link and that call to action for what you want them to do next. Don't be afraid to start blogging. It's really important that we keep active out there on our website, on our blog, on our LinkedIn blog posts and stories, and just keep active, keep sharing that content, keep getting more people to read about you and learn about you and know about you, and keep driving traffic to your website so that we can deepen that relationship, engage them, and take action. That's the quick tip for today. Keep doing it. Write that blog post that you've been putting off. Send it across to me. I'd love to read it and I'd love to share it. And come back and join us on Thursday where we'll have another amazing interview. And I'll be back with another quick tip next week.
You've been listening to Simon Scriver's Amazingly Ultimate Fundraising Superstar podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and head over to changefundraising.com to learn more or get in touch with Simon. Or don't, whatever, you're big enough to make your own decisions.
Hello, this is Morgan Freeman. For discounts on Simon's best-selling online fundraising courses, go to www.changefundraising.com/training and use coupon code podcast. Complete them in your own time, wherever you want. Get busy living or get busy buying.